Okay, so now we get to use our new knowledge with matrices to do a problem, out in the real world. Okay, so we have two soccer teams. They're the Wildcats and the Mudcats. And they have equipment needs. They need to buy goals, they need to buy balls, and they need to buy jerseys. So you can see this is an array. The columns are representing the two teams, and the rows are representing the different types of equipment they need. So we're going to set up what we're going to call an equipment matrix, and it's going to be represented by the row 610, the row 3024, and the row 1420. So if we were to read this, we could look at the elements and say, well, what does 24 mean? It means the Mudcats need to buy 24 balls. And what does 14 mean? It means the Wildcats need to buy 14 jerseys. Okay, so we can look at that matrix. We also are given some information that a goal costs $300, a ball costs $10, and a jersey costs $30. So we're going to want to keep this in line with our, goals. I don't want it to be, I need to think money. Okay, so money, I guess costs. So I'm going to change this a little bit as I make my, my new matrix. So cost is going to be based on how much it costs for the goals, how much it costs for the balls, and how much it costs for the jerseys. Well, the goals cost $300, the balls cost $10, and the jerseys cost $30. So I have a cost matrix that looks like this. 300, did I say? Yeah, 300, 10, and 30. Okay. This up here, my equipment matrix, is 3 rows by 2 columns, and my cost matrix is 1 row by 3 columns. Okay. Now, you might have some questions like, how do I know that I want it to be in 3 columns like that? Well, you can think about what we're going to do here in a minute, but that might be a little tricky to just tell. Okay. So we're going to take the cost and multiply it by the equipment because we're trying to find the total cost for each team. So that's part of the clue right there, is you're going to keep it by team. Now, if you remember in our chart, the teams were the columns, right? Okay, so you could think about that. You want cost for the row, and you want team for the columns, right? Okay. So we're going to take the cost matrix times the equipment matrix, and that's going to equal the cost matrix, 300, 10, and 30, times the equipment matrix, which I might not remember that, I might have to scroll up a little bit, 610, 30, 24, and what was the last row? 1420. Okay. So what we're going to wind up doing is we're going to be multiplying the cost by each team. So this was the Wildcats, this was the Mudcats. Okay. So I'm going to take the cost times the Wildcats needs and come up with a total cost. So that's going to look like, well, let's go back for a minute just so we know how to draw our matrix. This was a 1 by 3. This was a 3 by 2. So I'm going to have my final matrix, when I multiply, it's going to be a 1 by 2. Okay? Remember, we have to keep that number and that number the same. Okay. So we know it's a 1 by 2, so we can make a little thing there. Okay. So we're going to take the cost times the Wildcats. So that's going to be 300 times 6 plus, I think I'm going to need more room. I need a bigger matrix if I'm going to write this all out. Okay, plus 10 times 30 plus 30 times 14. And that was going to represent the cost for the Wildcats, okay, for that column. Then, to figure out the Mudcats, we're going to take the cost times the Mudcats' equipment needs. So we're going to have 300 times 10 This was a 6 there. Okay. 300 times 10, 10 times 24, and 30 times 20. And then we can do some calculating here. Let's see. 1800 plus 300 plus 420. Yeah. And then this other one's going to be 3000 plus 240 plus 600. Okay, and when we put that together, what's that going to be? 720, 2520, and 3000, 840. Okay, so the Wildcats need, I mean, if you were going to ask, the Wildcats, their total cost is $2,520, and the Mudcats, their total cost for equipment is $3,840. Okay?